Well, I finally did it. I decided that in order to keep this thing worth fixing, I had to install a Briggs on it. This Briggs I had on my shelf is rated at 6 3/4 torque, not horsepower, so whatever that converts to horsepower, it's probably about the same. This one they classed as a 6 horsepower engine. Really the only difference between these two obviously is the fact that this one's commercial grade, but it's got a bigger gas tank, it's got an external oil filter, and the air cleaner is probably nearly 100% sealed, unlike these ones on these Briggs, but these are okay. So I just checked the oil in it. I've already gotten this thing running. It was smoking quite a bit, but that's because it's been jostled about and it was just on its side, and I was moving the crankshaft back and forth, so oil probably leaked into the cylinder, got into the exhaust, or muffler rather, and you know, not really too much of a surprise there. So before I turn it on for you guys, I'll show you what I've done. It's got the original belt on it. Go into the transmission. Everything works. Self-propel works. Obviously this thing works as a lawnmower should. Flip this thing over. I always seem to forget how heavy this thing is. But I ended up putting a Craftsman blade on it, or at least one that was labeled for a Craftsman. I might have to adjust the pulley a little bit more, namely further up towards the engine block. That Subaru, I believe, was actually a little bit higher than this one, so it made things a little bit different trying to monkey around with this thing. I've actually been working on it for about, I don't know, 2 hours maybe, so I didn't really do any sort of videos on it. I wanted to get you guys kind of the end result, so here it is. And it looks like we do have a little bit of a oil leak from somewhere. Like I said, that was probably coming out of the muffler. I still have to adjust this issue. I'm just going to replace this cable. That should get the tension correct on the self-propel belt. Currently it's at the highest speed, if not probably a little bit higher. This thing wants to really take off when you engage the self-propel, so I'm really not going to do it. But other than that, obviously the throttle control no longer functions, doesn't do anything, so I'm going to end up taking that off. So let's start this thing up. bad. Let's get this bag off. Not bad. That worked out pretty well. The rest that I need to do with this thing is replace the transmission speed selector cable, remove the throttle control because it's no longer needed, at least with this engine, possibly paint this deck or have it painted depending on how much that'll cost. I mean, I could rattle can it, but it's not going to look that great. But it is a commercial mower, so who knows? Maybe whoever buys it isn't going to care. Engine's good. I put one of those Chinese carburetors on it, and it's no problems with that at all. I'm gonna keep the old one and clean that one out. But let's see, what year was this thing? 2008. It's in pretty damn good shape for being 12 years old. I'll give it that much. I'm talking about the engine. But this deck is like really heavy duty. You need the self-propel. You can push it a little bit without it on, but this thing is just heavy as hell. But anyways, so the other thing I was thinking about doing before I put this engine on there, and I might still go this route, I haven't decided yet, and it would mean for me to keep this thing around for a while if I do this. But I was looking at the Briggs & Stratton Professional line of engines, which are not the consumer versions. These have metal carburetors. They're put out about 8 to 10 horsepower, more than adequate for a commercial lawnmower. And I believe they're put on some commercial lawnmowers, but they're not really your typical commercial engine you see. Usually they're Kawasaki's in my experience. But anyways, so I might explore that a little bit. I was looking at a new Kawasaki engine, and the price on those makes it not worth it. I mean, you're looking $300 to $400 depending on where you get it. Of course, there's a couple that you can get for about half that, but they're not allowed to be sold in California. Shocker there. But the Briggs & Stratton professional engines are right at about $200 plus or minus $20, $30, depending on where you choose to get it from. So maybe I'll go that route if I find that this engine's not adequate, but I really don't think that this thing's going to be much of an issue. Though if I were to sell this as a commercial lawnmower, somebody who's buying it might have an issue with the gas tank size. But really, other than that, the motor itself is fine. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on it. And this engine has been sitting on my shelf for at least 2 years, so I'm finally getting to get it off the shelf and onto something. Is kind of happy about that. But anyway, see you guys next time.